What an encouraging person he was, how supportive he was, the great sense of humor, always positive.
Right now, the passing of a Monmouth College swim coach. Why the school's president says the loss hits so close to home for their community. Plus, the latest on the race for the vaccine. The Pfizer vaccine on its way across the country right now, when cities should expect the first doses coming up. Good morning, everybody, and welcome into News 8's Good Morning Quad Cities on this Monday morning, December the 14th, 2020. I'm Jonathan Ketz. Angie has the morning off.
And I'm meteorologist Andrew Stutzky in for Eric Sorensen on this Monday morning. Cold start, as we've been talking about this weekend, some of the coldest temperatures of the season arriving today, and especially with the wind chill too. Going to feel very cold this morning. Here's a live look at your Quad City traffic. Interstate 280 74 junction looking clear this morning. Also the I-74 bridge looking fairly quiet this morning too. Not seeing any major traffic problems. So your commute's good to go this morning, other than you need the heavier jacket. Cold front sweeping through. This is bringing some gusty winds on top of the cold temperatures we have in place, and this is creating wind chills as low as the low teens. So it's 25 degrees right now, but you factor in that wind and it feels more like 15 into the single digits up towards Dubuque. Yeah, certainly a shock to the system compared to where we've been the last several days. There you see the rest of the planner for today, looking at temperatures only getting into the upper 20s. And that will certainly be much colder than anything we have seen so far this season. Despite the sun not going to see much of a warm up today, but there is eventually going to be some warmth back in our future. I'll track in when this temperature pattern will turn back around to above average coming up.
Andrew, thank you very much. We start this half hour with the latest in the race to supply a COVID-19 vaccine to the nation, as regulators have given the final go-ahead to the nation's first COVID-19 vaccine. Shots will begin this week now that a final decision has been made by the Food and Drug Administration. The FDA called the vaccine from Pfizer and its German partner BioNTech safe and strongly protective. Initial doses are to go to healthcare workers and nursing home residents. Everyone else will need to wait in line until this spring at the soonest.
If we have a smooth vaccination program where everybody steps to the plate quickly, we could get back to some form of normality reasonably quickly into the summer and certainly into the fall.
Health experts say in the months until then, people need to mask up and keep their distance during the upcoming winter season. Well, shipments of that vaccine are on their way across the country after workers loaded up the first shipments onto FedEx trucks. The process began in Kalamazoo, Michigan at the Pfizer facility. Workers packing the vaccine up in containers of dry ice. Truckers left the facility yesterday morning. This first shipment is going out to all 50 states. Operation Warp Speed says 145 sites will get the vaccine this morning. Another 425 will get it by Tuesday. The vaccine will arrive at 60 additional sites Wednesday to complete this first delivery. Well, the University of Iowa healthcare system says it's ready to implement its vaccine plan now that the FDA has approved the Pfizer vaccine. The first doses are expected sometime early this week. They will be offered first to healthcare workers. Well, this weekend, Monmouth College lost one of its longest-serving swim coaches due to complications of COVID-19. Coach Tom Burke died Saturday at the age of 62. He was the college's director of aquatics and head swim coach since 2013. In a statement, Monmouth's president said Burke's work touched so many lives in such a positive way that he was someone who always sought to lift up others, even swimmers on opposing teams.
What an encouraging person he was, how supportive he was, the great sense of humor, always positive. He had his trademark phrase, which was "goggle up," and he wore his distinctive bright yellow Crocs around the deck of the pool.
Monmouth swimmers won many conference titles and all conference awards under Burke's tenure. The school says even with all the COVID statistics out there, having it hit so close to home has left a hole in their community. Well, the Davenport Police Department is investigating after reports of gunshots about a block away from LeClaire Heights Park. It happened shortly after 7:15 last night with several parked cars hit by the gunfire. According to witnesses, at least one house was also struck. No injuries reported. Several bullets and casings could be seen lying in the street. One neighbor whose car was hit by the gunfire describes the moment he heard the shots being fired.
We were just about to eat dinner, and then all of a sudden I hear pop, 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 pop. And everybody, like my neighbor, she threw her and our kid to the floor, and she's like, get down, get down. I'm like, that's fireworks. She's like, no, that's gunshots.
At this time, police have not named any suspects. A Davenport synagogue was vandalized on Thursday just before the first night of Hanukkah. Now the rabbi there says Davenport police and the FBI are investigating it as a hate crime. News 8's Josh Lamberty spoke with the rabbi this weekend, who says support for the temple after the incident has come from all over the world.
These brick walls in Davenport surround a sacred space.
It's at the entryway to our temple.
That sacred place, Temple Emmanuel, was vandalized with this verse from the Christian New Testament.
When I first saw the citation, I was like, yeah, that probably is not going to be a happy Bible verse.
Rabbi Linda Bertenthal first saw the spray paint on Thursday, a verse that references murderers and liars.
This person who would spray paint that on a synagogue is clearly full of hate.
On Friday morning, a power washing company removed the paint, leaving the brick spotless. But the support didn't stop there.
At our Friday evening services, so a day after this occurred, we had so many visitors at our Zoom service who were just there to be a loving presence for us.
Visitors from Kentucky and Minnesota, religious leaders from other faiths, and even as far as Belgium.
And it just kind of blew my mind that, people across the world are, wanting to shine their light against this act of darkness.
Shining that light.
There can never be an episode of hatred against anyone based on who they are that the community doesn't react to just the way they reacted to this. So people really do need to become knowledgeable about what's going on.
A worldwide community shining brighter than the darkness attempting to divide them. In Davenport, Josh Lamberty, WQAD News 8.
The Catholic Diocese of Davenport issued a statement about the damage, saying it condemns the vandalism and use of the Bible verse and that they stand with the Temple Emmanuel community. Well, last week, the Davenport Police Department collected toys for the local nonprofit Family Resources. One of the drop-off locations was Chuck's Tap in Davenport. They filled up a Budweiser truck with all of their donations. Those presents will be distributed by Family Resources to at-risk and low-income children across the Quad Cities. Organizers said they weren't sure what this year's drive would bring, but by Saturday afternoon, the community had given more than $4,000 in nearly 600 toys.
Still in the year we've had with everyone, not being able to work and not being able to, come out and support as much as they'd like to, but we still have a truck full of toys and the money, and everyone's really stepped up and came forward.
If you missed your chance to donate this weekend, you can still participate by dropping off new unwrapped toys at participating Fairway locations until December the 24th. Still ahead, next in line, the reason why Iowa's Agriculture Secretary is trying to push for farmers and meat processing workers to be some of the next people to get the COVID-19 vaccine. Andrew?
And bitterly cold wind chills making their presence felt across the area this morning as we track in the season's coldest air mass so far. But there is some warmth on the horizon. We'll track in when we could see those 40s make another appearance next in your accurate forecast.
You're watching Good Morning Quad Cities on WQ.